There's just no stopping an Outback sunrise, and we're feeling every one of those 2,000 kilometres it took to get us here within the stone throw of the Dragonstone. As we wake up on our first full day of base camp, I can already see Mick would rather sleep in. And honestly, so would I. But we have to rise up to get some coffee and break in us, and finally get into the actual mine today. This is where we're going to find out if there's enough Dragonstone to even pay for the fuel it took to travel halfway across Australia. For those of you who caught part 1 of this epic Dragonstone expedition, you'll recall what this stunning treasure we're hunting is and why it's so sought after by collectors and artisans around the globe. Not to mention what a colossal challenge it's been to get a road train, military truck, supplies and all the gear just to our base camp. Now remember, we're 4 days in, 2,000 kilometres down and still haven't even got to the bloody mine itself yet. So if you haven't watched part 1, go check it out. Mick and I will be waiting right here for you to catch up. So it's time to make the final push into the Dragonstone mine itself. We'll be driving Old Smoky, our trusty backhoe and our 4x4 Fuso support rig. But before that, we're going to give the vehicles one last check over before we head off to try our luck on the usually washed out track ahead. As we make our way into the mine, there's just no way of knowing what surprises will pop up on this unmarked Outback Way track. All sorts of things change from one expedition to another. The one thing we can be sure of though, is that it's never straightforward. We'll have to stay on our toes, watch out for each other and our lifeline of vehicles.
Well, here we are, we're in the middle of the Pilbara right now. We have our 6x6, our M932A2. At the moment I've got Mick down in the backhoe. He's down in a little creek. We have some major problems with this little crossing here and it's the main obstacle in getting into our lease of the Dragonstone. Memory for me is that when I took my boys in there when they were 4 and 8, we actually got stuck down there with a truck and a caravan, and the boys in all their wisdom were getting a little bit bored and decided to go for a wander. Me and their mum were sort of panicked for a few hours looking for them. They'd gone for a wander. We only had our back turned for 5 minutes and they took off. It's just one of those obstacles we can really get stuck at, so we don't want to have those problems. We want to be able to go straight through. So here we are. This is our main problem. This crossing here, it's relatively small, but we've got really high peaks here. Often when we come through here, we have a big water course and we have maybe 5 or 6 foot drops here. By the time we actually get here, we get into that drop, very hard for us to get out. So the main thing is we've got a 6x6 now that makes it a little bit easier, but then also doing a little bit of work with the front end loader first. We'll just level this track off, make sure that everything's nice and hard as we go through, and then we'll put it in low gear and take it up the hill.
I'm just so impressed with how easily this Monster 6x6 can roll over these obstacles on the last part of the old track. And finally, now the mine is actually in sight. And there it is, after all those days and challenges, we're here. It's not until you see it from the air that you can truly appreciate just how far outback we currently are. This is why we have to truck just about everything we could possibly need the 2,000 kilometres with us. It's also why we have to put safety first. We can't afford to mess up it all out here by either putting our vehicles at risk or ourselves.
So we finally made it up here to the Dragonstone mine. What you're looking at here is the main pit. This is actually where we find the Dragonstone. Phase 1 of the project was the extraction. Mick and I came up here a few months back. We put the excavator down here. We're actually digging this face here through the mica and pulling out those large boulders of Dragonstone. Phase 2 of the project is the recovery, and that's what we're here today to do. So we've got our 6x6 truck and our backhoe set up. We're picking up, we're loading, taking as much of the product out as we can in one go. We'll race out the goat track to where we've got the road train sitting at our camp. We'll load the truck out up there and then eventually get down to Perth. Behind me here we have this beautiful shiny stuff. This is actually a muscovite mica. As we start digging the face, we start to get into this beautiful green sparkly stuff. This is like fairy dust, but this isn't what we're looking for. As we're digging this, it's falling apart, flaky, crumbles. all of a sudden we get those large boulders I was talking about earlier. Something like this. This is what we call the dragonstone. So this dragonstone, sometimes people call it a jasper, sometimes a quartz or a praise. It's actually a fuchsite chert. It's a mixture of a couple minerals. The chromium in it actually makes it the brighter green colour we're looking for. We tend to get a really nice, delicious, hard stone with a little bit of transparency to cut a nice piece of jewellery. So for us, we'll take these down to Perth, the large boulders. We'll process in our saws, we'll cut, make some polished faces, some bookends, but we'll also export some rough to other manufacturers. Those manufacturers will make beads, bangles, jewellery, carvings, all sorts of things. The material is really pretty. Once it's processed, it pops.
Meanwhile, back at the mine site, we're getting the first day's haul of dragonstone back to base camp, one load at a time. So far, the quality is looking really promising, and I think there's a potential for us to be making several loads over the next few days. I've got to say that old Smokey is proving to be an amazingly capable 6x6, and it's already made it worth every bit of effort to bring it over here from the USA, and trucking it all that way from the other mine side on the way up here. Each trip along the goat track from the mine to base camp takes about an hour. I have to carefully navigate the riverbed, steep hills and the dangerous drop-offs. While I'm white-knuckling this monster military truck back and forth, it turns out Mick has enough time to go mountaineering between loads. I can't hold it against him though for wanting to take a break and soak in the sheer vastness of this rugged spectacle of the far north Pilbara. It stretches to infinity, and every last bit of it has a beauty of its own. It's not long before I'm back from base camp. Mick's finally back down from the peaks and back in his loader, ready to fill up old Smokey for another trip. But first, we want to take a closer look around the other parts of the deposit for any interesting dragonstone specimens we can spot for future expeditions. It always surprises me just how the site can reveal more stunning finds as weather and time work on the land. You never know what'll pop up.
So I keep talking about these large boulders of dragonstone. I want to show you this one. This is actually in the rock face. We're not working this edge of the mine, but it'll give you guys an idea of why I keep referring to it as a boulder. It's not a vein of dragonstone. You can see here, this is just like a lump of rock that's been placed in the middle of everything else. It's kind of odd. It's placed there as the mica is coming through. It's just starting on this edge of the mine. And this is actually what we're finding in the place as we start to dig with the mica with the excavator. They'll just pop out at us. It'll give you guys a bit more of an overview of why we refer to them as the boulder.
That outback sun is slowly starting to slip behind those distant mountains, so that's our cue to gather our last load for the day and head back to base camp. I don't want to be trapped out here in the pitch black, as it's hard enough climbing this goat track in the light of day, let alone taking our chances staring out the window into the dead of night. Even though we're trying to beat that setting sun, I just can't rush the drive or I'll make a mistake, and with tons of dragonstone on old Smokey's back, we definitely don't want to have that happen. That steady pace gives me the chance to watch a transformation of what these golden rays of the sun bring to this arid landscape. Shadows begin stretching long and thin, and the colours slide from dry browns to bronze and crimsons. As our little convoy pulls into base camp, there's just enough light to pull the tipper lever and add to our growing bounty of green gold. When the dust settles and the campfire's lit, we can wash some of that dust off with a shower and a shave. We start to feel a little more human and a lot less like the old timers of past. Now Mick's a magician too. He scrapes together those fixings for a meal under the stars. But no offence to you, Mick, after a full day in the dragonstone pit, I actually reckon that's what makes your food taste so good, mate. Some nights we'll have a yarn reliving the day and plot what's on for tomorrow's gamble. But then sometimes you just let the efforts of the day sit and have the night sky roll over you. Out here, we're totally disconnected from the world. Over the next few days, we're living by the rise and fall of the sun. The sun signals it's time to saddle up. We're going to get these vehicles fed and watered so we can hit the track again. We're going to head into the mine and start the task of hauling tons of dragonstone from mine to base camp till the sun calls time on us again at the end of each day. For 3 more days, man and machine are tested along this broken down old track. From mine to camp, we travel back and forth in the middle of the desolate Pilbara. It's starting to feel a little bit more like the movie Groundhog Day. But for Mick and I, it's a ton of fun, as we're totally boys with their toys. And these just happen to be mighty big ones. With every load, I'm getting more and more glimpses of these unique specimens of stone we've uncovered. Even though our previous expedition here was focused on the extraction of this beautiful mineral from the mine face, and this trip is to finally recover it, it's made me more confident that we're onto a very special deposit of a uniquely Australian dragonstone. This part of the Pilbara has a character of its own, and those distinctive qualities are reflected in the minerals here, and none more so than this wonderful gemstone dragonstone.
So within this beautiful country, for me personally, I like to leave a place better condition than I found it. For us, we've inherited this mine, we've taken it over from other owners over the years. So as we go along, some of the mistakes that were made in the past with stockpiles being placed in the incorrect positions, some of the tailings being not the most desirable at the front of watercourses or rivers, we'll actually start to, as we progress through the mine, utilise some of those stockpiles and tailings, and we'll actually take that waste material and place it back to where we've extracted minerals from. And we'll also try and keep that, the original natural lay of the land, we'll get it looking as natural as possible, and Mother Nature will come along with a couple wet seasons and it'll push that softer material wherever it wants to go. It'll actually reclaim the land for us and do a lot of rehabilitation at the same time.
Over the last 3 days hunting dragonstone, the specimens Mick and I have been able to gather and carefully bring out has surprised even me. It's been a grueling job, and it's really pushed the both of us and the trucks as well. But what a prize for all the effort.
So we've just come out of the dragonstone mine. We're at base camp now, all set up. It's about 17 k's out on a goat track. 6x6 did an awesome job. We managed to get all the rock out of there. We got a good idea of weights and we've laid the rock out in piles. The dragonstone we've got this time is absolutely fantastic. Really great colour, the quality is nice, the sizing is really good too. So we're looking forward to getting it back to Perth for processing. It'll be really exciting to see what we come up with. Mick's done a fantastic job on the backhoe. He's picked the material up with very little waste. Yeah, awesome job. So now the next task is getting into the position where we can take it back with us. So this afternoon we're going to pick it up and we're going to take it over here. So come with me and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So over here we have our rock bins. They're like mini skip bins, but a little bit more heavy duty. We've set them up on our drop deck, we've chained them down. We're going to load the rock on here to our weight limits. We'll get as much as we can in, make sure it's secure, and then we're going to run it up the road. We're going to run it up to Port Hedland, and we're going to get a contractor up there to cart the extra material for us. Then we're going to head up, and the excess material that we can take with us with our own trucks, we're going to put in our tipper. So whatever doesn't fit in the rock bins will end up in our off-road trailer. This old girl we've set up, purpose-built to run out here in the bush. We're going to load it up as much as we can on the front within legal limits. We're going to hook the other trailer onto the front, get the backhoe on and the military truck. We're going to run it all for the next couple of days back down to Perth, get stuck into it and cut some rock.
So just when you think all the hard work is done getting tons of material out of the mine, you realise you're only halfway done. The real work is figuring out how to play Tetris with hundreds of hefty rocks. Not only do we have to get them in the bins and tipper trailer, but we have to juggle the load around to get the balance of weights right so the already oversized road train can travel the thousands of kilometres back on the coast of Australia and safely arrive back down at Aussie Rock Hounds home base. The last piece of the puzzle is loading up Old Smoky and getting the rest of the vehicles prepared for the epic days of travel ahead. I'm still getting used to how big this truck is, and the looks we get rolling down the road with Old Smoky on the back of our rig, you wouldn't believe. He's becoming a big celebrity already, our Old Smoky, so he gets pride of place on the way home in the front row seat. With the sun fading fast, it's time to get this road train locked down, get off this old track and point it home before dark.
Well, it's been a hell of an expedition. We travelled 4,500 k's in 6 days. We got a heap of rock out, got dirty in the meantime. We've got the road train all set up and loaded. We're ready to go. Had some good news overnight from a couple of my customers. They've already placed an order, so it was well worth the effort to get some of this dragonstone out. It's given me a lot of good ideas for the next expedition. I want to bring you guys along, so all you rock hounds, come by, check us out, keep an eye out, and I'll see you next time.